Yes, I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday at 5:39, Tuesday, November 9th. I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Scituate Council on Aging. Thank you all for attending. I know we're a little bit on a different schedule today, just because we're normally on Thursdays, but Thursday this week is Veterans Day, so everyone's going to be closed, so we're going to have a meeting on Thursday, so we're doing our November meeting tonight. As we normally do, just for starters, we'll do a quick round of introductions. I'm J.D. Miller, Chair. I'll go to this one, Linda.
Okay, Linda Hayes, Director of the Senior Center.
Susan Burbidge Kelly, Vice Chair.
Molly Brady, Board Member. Marie Ficker, Board Member. Dee Dwyer, Board Member.
Barbara McFadden, Associate Member.
Gail Samaha, Guest. Barbara Smith, Guest.
Pat Calvin, Board Member.
Thank you, welcome, our guests. Marie, you're on the clock.
Right.
Okay, very good. Marie's going to be our secretary tonight. Everyone should have a packet of information, mostly from last month's meeting notes, October 14th. If you would please take a quick look at those and see if there are any edits or changes, and then we will approve our minutes. You can't read it.
Oh, I can read this one. Sorry, do you work that?
Does anyone have any edits, comments, changes to our October minutes? Would I have a,
I move that we approve the September.
perfect, and a second? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Very good, seconded by Lori, minutes approved. Linda, we're gonna hand it over to you for your direct report.
Okay. Boy. It's a little sparse, only because, not because we haven't been busy, but because we have been so busy. And October was a bit of an anomaly because I really ended up with very little staff, you know, just with unexpected illness or vacation, just a few things that just were, we just ended up with less people than we thought we had in the building. So anyway, things went on as usual, but it's just something to mention. But we are, as of now, really on full staff. So with people having returned from vacations, and my having hired a new transportation coordinator, although it seems to have taken a while, it actually, in the end, was very serendipitous. She, you know, made a second pass that she thought she was appropriate for the job, and she was absolutely right. So we had thought we were making an offer to someone else who then withdrew. So it actually worked out very well, and I think she's perfect for the job. So her name is Lillian Cruz, and then as mentioned, I believe last month, Erin Lamont as well is the new outreach coordinator, who had previously been on the police force for a time. So she's with us now, and again, she's a great fit for the job, and just adapting. she had had some pre-planned vacation plans, so she was gone for 2 weeks as well, but now she's back. So very happy about that, and both of them can attend next month, so I
Great.
figure we might as well have them both come in to
Great.
review.
What's the
Okay.
spelling of cruise?
CRUZ.
Is, Lillian's only really been here a week, right? Is Kathy still coming in, or?
Actually, not either, she started last
Maybe like last Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Is Kathy coming in still to sort of mentor?
She did one day,
Okay.
and she will come in next week one day for just some help with reports or
Okay.
some orientation, but really Lillian doesn't need a whole lot of direction.
Good.
She's actually very adept.
Great.
And happy to be doing it, and I think she might have said the word she loves to schedule. So that's just really what we needed, because that is what it is. I mean, it is a, multifaceted job, but there is a lot of scheduling, as well as people skills, God knows, on the phone. So, that said, I had been attempting to, keep it afloat, and, it's not easy, and we knew that, it's a big job. So, that's good news.
balls to keep in.
Yeah.
For transportation, there are a lot of calls, between the out-of-town medicals, of course, and the local rides, and honestly, just people trying to get to exercise, or whatever they might be coming in for, which we do. We do some, hopefully that increases as well, but they rely on that. So they don't want us to forget them, and nor do we want to. Well, I go in order anyway, our lunch program, which is, generally what everybody's talking about these days, but, so I added the numbers again, which I'd included last month, so just so you can see, it actually is a little down, which is hard to say why, but, September was the first month, now October's the second month. It doesn't feel down, it really doesn't. I think maybe there were fewer days. The storm, we ended up not serving lunch one day, because when we were, yes, our doors were open, but it was the day they didn't want people on the roads anyway. I mean, it was still happening, the storm. So a couple of us came in anyway, and
You were a shelter.
Fred, well, we were a charging
Yeah,
station,
okay.
a warming station.
Yeah.
We were in a shelter. They didn't feel the need to open a shelter because of the temperatures. Yes, the power outages were an issue, but we were here and made more coffee than you can imagine. And, Kevin from facilities was, I mean, we have outlets, you would think everywhere, but they didn't necessarily go throughout the building. Everybody was in the cafe or the dining room, so he found other outlets, different places. Some of them looked 100 years old, but they worked, so we had charging all. Well, that was more Thursday, so Wednesday, when it was still the storm, even though we were open, and we probably had, my estimate was maybe 25 people, 80% at least, maybe more, 80-90% were people that had never been in here. Now, they chose, literally, this was the storm. They came out in the storm to come in for either coffee or to charge, or to see the senior center. The next day, we were open. I mean, we were technically open. We were a warming charging center. We didn't really cancel activities unless the instructor couldn't make it. We had planned on lunch, so we did lunch. We didn't get everyone. We tried, communication was horrible, so with everywhere else. So we couldn't really get calls through on people's landlines, and frankly, cell phone service was the worst I'd ever seen it from my own.
It was,
You couldn't text, you couldn't, I mean, just nothing seemed to work. So we did our best. We did make a broadcast call or two to people just to say we were here or still running. So we probably seated that day, and I actually can't remember precisely, but let's say we thought we might have had 42 people or more. And we might have seated 30, and then I offered people who were here, if they wanted to sit and have lunch, they could. Or if they didn't, we'd made sandwiches the previous day for all the emergency personnel, so the DPW, highway guys, fire, and police did come in to have some lunch. I mean, well, it's kind of a funny story, but the town administrator he looks at the menu all the time. He's asked about the menu, so he made sure, he asked me to make sure it was online, so people, when he goes to the coffee shop, he can say he knows what the menu is. So he knew it was supposed to be spaghetti and meatballs, but the day prior, the fire chief had called. He said, no, if I were you, I'd cancel everything on Wednesday. So, Fred looked at me, he's like, well, I can get this back in the freezer now if you say we're gonna cancel lunch. I said, okay, we'll cancel lunch. So we put it back in the freezer. And then Jim was announcing to people that it was spaghetti and meatballs at the senior center, which it wasn't because it was in the freezer. So, he did have some ziti, he did have, we had meatloaf, we made meatloaf sandwiches, we made, we had seafood salad, we had stuff. So anyway, we were able to put out cold sandwiches for people that were just here, that maybe wanted to eat, and we had lunch for others who had a reservation or wanted to come. So anyway, all told, it was really well received and very nice, those 2 days.
And you provided internet for me
Oh,
on
we did
Friday,
provide it.
which
And
was a
some-
lifesaver for work,
Yeah.
and you're open earlier than the library,
Isn't that
so.
so funny? And you're savvy, so you knew how to make that work. Like the previous day, somebody needed a hotspot, because we really didn't have internet, which was disappointing to many, is that they came in thinking, okay, we can get internet with the generator. We did not have internet.
No one
yeah.
had internet.
No one had internet. Comcast is a separate,
Yeah.
utility out on the street. It was street power.
Yeah.
So we had
Power.
not
So
Wi.
you did have it Friday though, because I didn't use a hotspot.
Right,
So it was
you
great.
could do it when you
It
came
was
in,
really
but the
great.
day before. Somebody else was smart enough to do a hotspot, and then, it's you turn another device into something that operates like a network, like a wireless router. So it could be someone's phone. Mike did end up providing something from IT. After that, I mentioned that somebody brought a hotspot. I didn't know how to use it, but, so it was great. People did do that. It definitely will work. So that was exciting, but of course that was actually just,
How long has the center been open? It's twice you get storms.
I guess,
Few months.
there was one in August?
Yeah,
Huh, well,
Jess posted a real nice thing on Facebook too. A picture of some guys
yes,
in the dining room, and it just looked warm and cozy and inviting.
yep.
I thought
We
that was
did
really
wanna-
great.
We did feel we need a little good PR, so that was good. That said, I don't know why the lunch numbers are a little down, because it doesn't seem so. We have wait lists almost all the time. Tuesday's probably our lightest day. We do have upcoming dates that are all full into December.
December 16th, I can tell you right now, Bake Haddock sold out.
Sometimes it's about the menu, sometimes it's about the functions that are happening, that people wanna come before or after and have lunch, and we can only serve so many. So at this point, we really are in the 40 to 48, range. That's what he's comfortable with, and that's what we're continuing to do for now. I think, yes, you can turn it up or
Can
off.
I turn it?
Is he gonna up it eventually?
Well, it's hard to say. Right now, I don't know, and it is a little contingent upon, other help in the kitchen,
Yeah.
so,
We need help, we need hands.
we have, I don't wanna minimize, the volunteers have become a team. They are fabulous, we love them, and we couldn't be doing it without them. They change almost every day, we do, continue to have Maureen easily 4 days, Maureen Dinsmore, and a couple of others maybe twice a week, but it's just that Fred would like to train an assistant who would be able to just know what the prep is to offset his hours. His hours are bare bones, and that's kind of the way he wants it, except he can only do so much with those hours. He's making a great lunch. Sometimes we're, not to say imposing, but we do a breakfast, at least once a month, so that's 2 meals, and it's a lot. So we'll see. And also, we are so reliant upon the other side of the big room for much of our exercise at this point, that everybody's very disappointed if we have to send them upstairs to the fitness room. And if we started bleeding into that room with lunch tables and the setup, then that really takes them out of the, so for special occasions, yes, but maybe not every day. And we thought we'd do maybe 15 to 30 was the kind of guesstimate in our head when we were proposing the program. So it's great.
Are you saying that the lunches are all sold out now through December?
Well, not all, and
Oh.
into December, some of them are,
Oh.
but not all, it's sporadic. So sometimes it's the menu, sometimes it's the activity. I will say, and we haven't, we haven't done anything to change this yet, because I'm not sure. Some people are really relying on this for a social and a nutritional and, a very substantial meal opportunity for a good value, which is what we wanted. So should we say, no, you can't come 3 times, you can only come twice? I'm not sure. We do have people doing that, some would come every day. And with good reason, some of them are there's been a lot of camaraderie noted, whether it's between, couples who are friends or, maybe playing bocce together, or frankly, some men who might be single and are getting a great meal out of it, and enjoy each other's company. So I don't know, how would that impact the day-to-day? If we said only twice a week, would that end up impacting with a lower number some days that, we could fill it? So I don't know, Fred doesn't know. So we're just looking at it and seeing, trying to keep up with it really as best we can.
Is that a common problem with senior centers?
The lunches are sold out.
No. I would say probably not,
It's
and
gotta
I mean,
be-
I'd have to
it's
go
gotta
back
be
2
in the
years
building.
at this point. This is unique that we are at this point. Many senior centers aren't doing this, they're still maybe doing grab and go, or their lunches are a different product.
Yes, they
So,
are.
I can't really say that. I could go out if I could ask a couple that I know of, but I'm not sure. I think this is a little unusual.
So how do you think you can handle the no-shows? Because that's really causing a problem for people that do run.
It had caused a problem, so I don't know if anybody, I tried to just treat it in my letter, if anybody reads that in the newsletter, just asking for consideration and an understanding that this is the reason we're asking for reservations. And really, cancellations are best done early in the day, so we still have time to call someone.
Yeah.
It was hard to, hard for the volunteers maybe to know if they should keep a wait list, so we're trying to minimize the wait list, but still have one. So when we do get cancellations, we can try to fill them. It doesn't always work out, and then we're still stuck. You're right. Should they pay? That's something, but it really doesn't. It doesn't solve the problem. It might in the long run solve the problem. Yes. So it's been brought up. We could start to do that, and that is so. We will see. But it might be better also. And then there's always those that they do know the system, so they are here waiting in the wings. Which in the end is okay, go ahead. You know what I mean? We'd rather fill that seat, whether we had a wait list of 5 that we didn't, weren't able to reach, but now that person is able to sit down.
People are raving about the
Yeah.
chef's food.
Oh,
Yeah,
It is.
I don't think many senior centers have it, someone of that caliber.
absolutely.
I mean, could you just mention what his background was before you get?
Well, he's been a chef forever,
Yeah.
he's done this forever, I guess, since he was 12, I think he might have said, but, he did work for Kimball's for many years,
Oh,
and
yeah.
of late, prior to coming here, he was with Life Care as their full-time chef.
Mhm.
And he was retiring from that work, full-time work. And I did know him because he had previously, and he is a Tai Chi master, not to give away all the secrets, but, and a musician, and he's a great guy. I thought maybe he'd be interested in something less, because I think he does like his craft. He does. So he was.
Retired in January and we lured him in 2 months later.
So we are lucky, yep. But I think he would also like to mentor somebody and train somebody to work in the kitchen consistently. He loves the people who are helping him out, but really someone he could show exactly how to do things, or who already knows. So we'll see. That is one of my personnel requests from the new budget, which is in my report. But so between that actual new hire, which would be another part-time position, technically same hours as Fred's, for less money. However, we're also pursuing sort of right now, so we'll see if it works out in the shorter term and could pull that request, but thanks to Susan, there is an agency, more or less nonprofit, I guess, state funded and federally funded, who would supply a person in that position that is older and needs to be retrained maybe for the workforce, so we can make a 6-month to 2-year commitment to that person. And that might be something that would work out, and there's a couple of other opportunities for that as well. So when I mention that, of course, to my administration, yeah, let's do that. So we'll see if it works out. Otherwise, I think everybody knows and has heard how great the program is, and certainly they want to help us sustain it. So I think either way we'll have something for him. I just how soon in the meantime, and the volunteers would still be necessary, just a little bit more front of the house and cafe, as opposed to the actual maybe cooking piece. But the kitchen's looking great. So.
And everything's working.
No, I wasn't gonna mention that, but, no, honestly, there's still just one thing I believe that we're waiting on, and that is unfortunate. It's not been a problem just yet. Well, it has been,
The burn?
but most everything has been conquered. And in fact, as far as the building goes, which is also, I mean, honestly, they were here today doing a multitude of things. There were ladders everywhere and a bit of noise and people. But I think they were finishing up the punch list today. She is hoping that perhaps they are completely done, which still needs to be inspected, but, so that's great. So the building, I think, looks overall. On that note too, the art display that's downstairs, that has been a pleasure to have, and I think most people, or everybody, I shouldn't say most everybody, has appreciated it, as have we. But it's coming down on Friday, and then we have a new one set to go up, which is the Coastal Printmakers, they're called, which is an organization that's been facilitated, I guess, by Esther Machio, who has been a volunteer for us and is helping out with these. So she's great, and it's already ready-made because they were just at the James Library, so basically they're coming and putting it on Monday. So that's great, and they've got a few other things in the works, which is also wonderful, something really great for next year.
What is the name of that organization that's providing?
Coastal Printmakers.
Coastal Printmakers.
I think we put it
It's in
in the
the-
newsletter, and they're called Coastal Printmakers Exhibition, Unprecedented, with PRESS. She's very clever, her wordsmithing is very good, Esther. So that is that. Rotary Club, if anyone's still interested, is tomorrow night where they open it to the public, so a lot of our people enjoy going for a light dinner that they have provided, catered by Privities. And then a performance that I've really always wanted to bring in. It's called Lines of Fire. So it's been done before, but it's a reading of letters from the various fronts of different wars. And I think it's very moving. So it's being portrayed, dramatized, I guess, by Jean de Giacomandri, and she has a troupe,
Yeah.
so that's who's doing that. So that's tomorrow night,
Here, okay.
here at the center.
I recommend it. I saw it at Gar Hall, and it's fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really get a sense of people, you know, it's about characters.
Yeah, the characters are great.
Back and forth, the letters come, and it's awesome. They do a great job.
No, not, the presentation's not reservations, you could come at 7, I believe, I could double check that for you, whereas 6, they probably wanna know who might be coming for dinner. But we can talk to Lucille, who's running it, so you know Lucille. Sorry to know,
Oh, yeah.
she was on the board, so, something, you know. I guess she's been off for maybe 2 years.
Lucille.
So also, as you also may know, just another opportunity, I guess, having outside activities in the building, because I haven't done too many. But the Veterans, American Legion veterans are hosting their Veterans Day luncheon here on Thursday, as I know you know, because many of you have offered to volunteer for it. So, it did go up from what he thought might be 50, 60 people to 90, which was my cutoff. So it is at 90 with reservations, and let's hope actually that others don't necessarily come, think they'll sit down. After that, at 1, the food pantry is sponsoring dessert, coffee outside, and there's music. So the Who Shows Up band that people do, like their little bluegrass, they're very fun, and there could be a lot of them who show up. Will be on the patio, and the food pantry will be out here with tents. And then, so anybody could come to that, and the other group that sings, Soldier Songs and Voices, I believe they're called, they are here too, maybe right at 1, they might be inside, they might be outside. So it's become a big deal, it's like, we're setting tables at maybe 9:30, their program starts more at 11 outside, and then it comes in at 11:30, and then lunch is served after their speeches.
Just try to think of the old building, trying to do something like that.
Well, that said, December 7th, which is normally would be the men's breakfast, first Tuesday of the month, I did get asked if the Veterans Advisory Council could do their veterans breakfast. You know, as part of that, so to speak. Now granted, not all men are veterans, so, so we are doing that on December 7th, which is a Tuesday. When we were at the other building, we did one
Yeah.
in February.
It was jammed.
And it was jammed, and we probably had 55 people sitting for breakfast that day in that building. And we can't do that many more here, because we've got this breakfast, and then we've got lunch, and so we can only do so much, again. So they were asking, oh, is 90 the cutoff? Because I heard about the Legion. Like, I don't know, I have to ask Fred. So I think we can do, I think he decided we could do 70, maybe 75, you know what I mean, and then still clear for lunch, but he's gonna cook. So it's tricky, so the breakfasts are tricky, and so this is just, everything just seems to be bigger, everything is bigger, and we are disappointing people, and we don't like to do that. So that's a couple of things to know about. That said, we do have a few, I do mention the special luncheons that are full, so turkey on next Thursday, the 18th, it is full with 50. In a wait list. We have a Christmas visit from a woman who's always come and done a sing-along for us, and they bring dessert from Allerton House, very good dessert. So that's on December 15th.
Is that Linda?
That is Linda. Okay. And then a sort of late plan for the day before New Year's Eve. So on December 30th, which is a Thursday, so there is a luncheon, which isn't full yet, because we decided we can do more. But then we have the Play It Again band coming for some music, festive music for New Year's Eve. So people should like that. They're great, and all 5 of them are coming. So they did play for us when we did the River Club Thanksgiving luncheon on a Sunday. Anybody remember coming to that?
No.
It wasn't that long ago. I'd say it was 2019. And we had them come. And they were wonderful. So, driver status for transportation in addition to Lillian, we have 4 regular drivers, 2 backup drivers now. I mean, we went from 1 part-time driver to now people coming back, 2 backup drivers, and then 1 also returning driver, which I think we just have to ease her in slowly. I didn't get the number for the Shine open enrollment appointments, which runs from early mid-October to December 7th, actually. But I would say we have booked all our appointments, so we generally have 2 outreach counselors coming in each week for 4 appointments each, and those are booked, and more or less have been since early October. They are willing, they're great, they are willing to, and we give out the forms for Part D, so they can complete those forms, drop them off here, and then the counselors will run those forms and see if they can come up with something and even talk to them by phone. So they're willing to do that. So we'll see everybody, and Erin is willing to jump in as well, and she's learning along the way.
It's Elaine and who else?
Rich Durkin,
Okay.
his wife Betty is one of our drivers.
Oh.
She does Wednesday. So overall participation, if you're interested, again, is a little up, funny enough. So 2,478 is the number of check-ins really. Last month or the previous month it was 2,450, so it's a little up. Daily average, it's about the same, 112. I mean, I would say we sometimes still have to ask people nicely if they would please check in. People get by, they get by. And people come into the building who don't have scan cards, and then maybe say they'll come back, and so we do ask them to sign in, but obviously we're not counting those numbers. So there's definitely more activity in the building than just the check-in participation, but that's what we are capturing. I did get good news. I think last time I brought up the whole pickleball, scenario, but Jenkins did just agree to have us come back on Thursdays at 4 to 6, which is what our people want and play indoors, or who would like to come back to playing indoors, and then also Fridays. And badminton can start again at Jenkins. They play at night on Wednesdays. So they've been waiting. They really have.
So Jenkins has been offline for,
Jenkins has been offline
and
since
now
March
they're
13th.
coming back. Good.
Yes, in fact, somebody was very nice and gave up something. I think basketball came in and just took everything they could get. And then Jenkins just asked if they could free up a waiting night. So that's also very nice. In addition to what I mentioned already for the veterans, so some meetings, we've been fielding the Irish Heritage Trail and Sister City committees. I they meet here twice a month, actually, and one of the meetings was actually pretty big. They did a regional Zoom meeting, I think they had, Ireland on one of the squares. So, they've really taken advantage of the facilities we have, and I haven't minded, they're an easy group. Veterans Advisory Council, Waterways Commission started this month for the first time, and then Rotary and the American Legion, as I mentioned. So, I'm still not just reluctant to have private parties, but we need a policy for that. But if any other town-sponsored departments or committees or boards wanted to meet here, and I do have some people who would volunteer to be in the building, it doesn't have to be me staying, then I would continue to do more, just not other social events at this point, unless it was for us, which we've been asked to do, but we'll see. So that's sort of my report, but in addition, I did give you some numbers that you just might be interested in, and I sort of did the big picture for you. So if you see the events that we can generate from my senior center, so in other words, community education versus fitness, health screenings. I mean, fitness obviously far and away. Does that number scare you? 950 duplicated. So again, that's the number of check-ins. The number of people is the unduplicated. So 215 people coming in for what we consider fitness or exercise, which is obviously our big sell.
And the fees for that, does that go to the general fund or to the instructor?
To the instructor. For the most part. So because traditionally they used to get paid per participant, but, and one yoga instructor still does. But others kind of wanted it changed so that instead of sometimes coming away with $12, which used to be the case, which wouldn't be the case now, but they wanted a guarantee. So, the money in, money out, it sort of works out that sometimes we are retaining, but sometimes we're coming up short. So in the end, it is a revolving account, and that's all it's for, is for programs, money that pays the instructors, or goes to, even we buy resistance bands for classes, or, yoga equipment, whatever. So it works. But generally speaking, that is what we do. So if anybody's interested, like instructional, that is, we've got the we've had the iPad class, and Bob Jackman's classes, which are also oversubscribed. So he is now for the first time, along with our classes in ukulele and expressive writing. But Bob has now, because he really didn't want to, he had 44 people that we had to have meet in the big room. But that's a big, big lecture. That's really, he wants to have discourse. He really, wants it to be two-way. He just likes talking to everybody. And everybody likes to do that too. So instead, we decided this time, we filled the afternoon with 28 people for the Peggotty room. And then he's doing a morning session as well, which is not as subscribed yet, but could be, because now they have to take that if they want to. So he's willing to do back-to-back as long as we provide lunch, which we are. So he's in.
Good. Yeah, if Bob is willing, it's better for us to have 2 classes of 25 than 1 class of 45.
Well, if he's willing, right.
Yeah.
Which is, I have done sometimes, where we have Sandy doing Tai Chi now, which I had done for 7 years, but then we had so many people sign up that we did split it into 2, but I'll tell you what, I can't spend a whole afternoon, and also, it's exhausting. I mean, 2 back-to-back classes is a lot. Now, I subbed this week, and it took a lot out of me. She does not mind, she is fine, but the numbers have also not stayed high, so I don't know, we may combine it again. And we did add one for Thursday, so people like that. They like being able to go to 2. Any other questions on those in terms of numbers? You can see that instructional is also big. Social event, that's what everybody chooses when they don't have any other reason why they came in. They came in to sit and have coffee, for the most part, that's why they came in. Because they might come in to use the cardio machines. That's not really social, and we have an event for that. So it's all manually driven. We put in the events, we have to choose the category, And we're trying to capture the numbers so that it's easy to kind of realize what they're here for. Sometimes we get it wrong. I think recently we moved pickleball from recreation, because it sounds like it's recreation, but really it is fitness. Well, I should check
What's
that.
information sharing?
So that's Shine,
Okay, I got it.
and I can look up other things. But if we did a presentation about something, it
No,
would
that's fine, that's what I was just trying to.
Yep. So recreation is things that are more hobby-like. So knitting is recreation, the movies are recreation, bocce seems to be recreation. Pool table, Scrabble, mahjong is all recreation instead of saying games. So, you only want so many categories, really, you don't want 1,000 categories, but. So that's how we try to do it. So there are the main categories and then each subcategories.
Do people need to sign up for example to play pool?
The way we've been doing pool is there is a sheet downstairs at the front desk, and we were using it to have people reserve a half hour of the cardio machines. So we maybe kept it to 2 in the room at a time,
Okay.
and we asked them to sign in when they get here, instead of calling us. We don't want to take reservations for the cardio run. But then we added a column for pool. So now they do the same thing, except sometimes they do call to see if they can do it at noon or do it at 1. Or reserve it for 4 people, and so far that's been fun. That's okay. Sometimes they just come in for it and check it out.
Yeah.
It's fun. When we have scheduled activities, they can't, when we don't, it's okay. So far it's working out. I'd like to do more with that on certain days, but we haven't. Any other questions on that? So that's event stats. I think I included on the back of that page, the summary stats. So rides, which I also printed out transportation, but 200 rides, 40 more or less riders, which encompasses both local and out-of-town medical. We're still going everywhere for out-of-town medical, but we were starting to use Social Community Action Council again a lot. Because I didn't have all the drivers, but now with Jim and Joe, who are interested in Boston. Juan is great with local and is willing to do Weymouth, Braintree, Plymouth. So we are trying to charge more for the Boston trips and the Plymouth trips. So instead of the $10 round trip, we have upped it to 20. We'll see. Not to say it's discretionary. If they can't pay it, they can't pay it. But that's what we're asking, because it is potentially very expensive if we use Social Community Action Council. If we provide the ride, obviously it's less, but it's the driver hours, the gas.
Yep.
Even the parking.
Distance.
Even potentially the parking sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but it's still much better. Local, as you may know, it's a round trip fare, which is determined by GATRA. But I do think that's what's keeping some of the rides down, so I think we may look at, we did get that transportation donation a couple of years ago that we didn't end up needing for the new van. So I'm gonna propose that maybe we offer some discretionary donations for transportation, but not require them, even though really it was GATRA that sort of required us to do that, because we, it's not really money they're giving us, so to speak. We owe them the money that we expend with the rides. So we'll see. That's not happened yet, but that's something I think we can look at. And then volunteers, for those that are signing in, we do have a lot that do know the routine, such as even for you. So we didn't have it on the system tonight, which is unfortunate, but you can just say you're here for a COA board meeting. Or you can also, your names should have volunteer attached to them. So when you do come in, if you are volunteering, but anything you might do like Thursday, if you're coming for that, then you touch, the volunteer button, and then you might say, I'm here for 3 or 4 hours, and then that gets added.
This is on my.
It's on my senior center to check a machine with your scan card. And then we know how many hours volunteers have worked, which I haven't had to do an annual report for 2 years now, just because of the pandemic, but I normally had to every year designate all the volunteer numbers. And, it's nice to see them, it's good to know. And then we do have the volunteer appreciation event sometime in the spring. And we want to know people who worked, over 20 or 30 hours. That's usually how we gauge it, so, just saying. and services, which are way down, partly because of the lack of a person in that position. Fielding phone calls and things, and I don't always get it into the system admittedly, but Erin knows the system now, and she will start to do that. So as well, there was the average attendance per day. Again, Monday is still the big one, and I can't figure it out. But it is. And then the actual breakdown of the transportation is on the back page there. And for instance, I know tomorrow, parking is going to be an issue. So we made, a broadcast call to one of our groups as well as our volunteers, and the staff is going to park elsewhere down in front of recreation. And I have had a notice out that does tell people if you can't park in our lot, then the recreation lot is available to us in a short walk on the paved walkway.
Yeah.
Where, to be honest, the parking spaces, the 14 parking spaces directly behind the A-wing or B-wing, sometimes like this morning, they're taken up by the food pantry volunteers, so they should be our backup, but now they're not. And then some people are parked by the tennis courts and by the Little Red Schoolhouse, which is a long walk and not as comfortable a walk. So that paved walkway is a great walk, so that's where I would direct some people. But today, for reasons I'm not sure, the parking lot was full. So, I've had Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my favorite days because I have two guys who are really great with the counting, and they take it very seriously, and they are on everything. In fact, they're even starting to tell people when they have parked like that, which, snowballs, and then sometimes you're missing a space. Anyway, because we need every space we can get. But that is how that's working, and so sometimes if we know ahead of time, we're trying to get in front of it if we can.
I mean, on days like Monday and Wednesday, are you seeing the parking lot maxed out?
Well, Wednesday, tomorrow, it's because of the Art for the Mind,
There's lots of
at the
stuff.
same time as the strength training class, which is always large. And then, of course, Bob's also starting a class, which is unusual in the morning, but maybe not too large. And then we have yoga. I mean, sometimes they're offset. It's just like if you wait 5 minutes, that group is leaving and someone else could be coming in, but it's just not the way it works. And sometimes we've had spaces maybe taken by some work crews or staff. And now the vans, that's been brought up by some people, why they're here. Well, first of all, they're being driven, so they're not here all day and shouldn't be. For a while they were, or two maybe. But I do want them here. I would like to keep my eye on them. It's nice for the drivers for a change to be able to do it here, but they are parking behind the B-wing when they can. And one of the vans was, a little nicked, so, we do want to keep our eyes on them, and I would have parked it down behind the B-wing, but I was asked not to, so, anyway, right now that's where we park. Whether that changes or not, I don't know.
I have a question about that, because I come to Mahjong on Tuesdays, and it used to be, just when it was the men's breakfast, we couldn't find parking, and so women circle and then they leave. They can't kind of close each place. I had to park, and because of the food pantry, there's a lot of spaces taken by that. So you're talking about doing a breakfast with 60 people on a Tuesday, in addition to the men's, well, instead of the men's breakfast. And you added essential something today, that's why there was so many cars, because 28 people came to that.
Yes.
So should you just cancel the things that are meeting regularly on those days when
Should
there's
I?
gonna be?
Would you
I
like
don't
that?
know, I mean, it's very,
I know it's hard, and I'm trying to,
well, why couldn't the
with
breakfast
some
be
solution.
another day, is all I'm saying.
well, it's always been on
Friday?
Tuesday, and it was a men's breakfast,
Or-
and just like Mahjong has always been on Tuesday. So, do you want to change your day?
Well, we meet 4 times a week, and they meet once a month. I mean, I've heard that the men's breakfast was actually a Monday's men's breakfast originally. That's what Janet Fairbanks said,
It
but
was.
Thursdays would be a day that in the morning, you don't have the same conflict early. So the first sort of big thing that happens is at 11 on Thursday. So the men's breakfast at 9 would have a chance to leave before the balance people
Well, I mean,
came.
it's a fine suggestion, but we haven't done that yet because we really are just kind of ascertaining what is a problem and what is not, and how many numbers we're getting. So we didn't plan on having 70 people or 60 people or whatever I said for a men's breakfast, but now I know we are.
Yeah.
If you wanna cancel your activity, you can, but I wouldn't. I would find places for them to park and ask them to park at those places if we could. So that's my solution right now, is
Yeah.
23 spaces there, 14 spaces there, plus 70 should cover us. We'll see.
Yeah.
So, but if you wanna cancel or move your day,
No, I'm just trying to figure out a solution for the women who can't walk 2 blocks like I did this morning.
I do not want them to walk 2 blocks.
Right,
For that.
and they won't, I mean, they'll just leave, and so,
Okay.
you know, that's happened a couple of
Well,
times.
that was unexpected, but we can talk about that at
Yeah.
another time instead of, unless the board has some.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an issue that needs to be
Which is what I've
addressed.
said,
Yeah,
it's an issue we're looking at.
it's good.
So I have another suggestion on vans. What if you split the van parking and put 2 vans at this lot down here and leave 2 here?
Well, we have 3 vans,
Okay,
and
Oh, but that
we've been using 2 almost every day,
okay.
so that was only one.
But if you put one down there that maybe does 2 things. It frees up some spaces, but it also shows people that it's okay to park there because there's a senior center van in it.
So, I mean, I could, I need to ask recreation, that is recreation's lot, it is our backup. But I could do that, if we know we have it for the day.
Yeah.
Wait, I got a little lost about the alternate places that people could park. Could you just go over it really quickly?
There is a 23 space lot in
Yeah.
front of the recreation department, off of Cudworth, that's the only way in. So if you were in this lot circling, you'd have to actually go out either way, First Parish or Cudworth, and then go in the separate driveway at the head of
But it's a
Cudworth.
nice paved walk.
But it is
up.
nice, it's a
It's
new
a pretty
parking lot.
walk.
And it's, right, and
Right,
it's an
you
easier
walk through the
walk.
You
concrete.
could also ride your bicycle here.
Yeah, but we're talking about people that, you know,
I
have bad hips and
wasn't
bad
specifically
knees.
talking about the mop shop women, I was just trying to make a joke. Add a little levity.
Yeah. No, it's, I mean, you know, just being here, you know, regularly and knowing people that come, it really is interesting how many people are not able to do a big walk. I'm just, you know, and I only know that because I'm here and I, you know,
Well, I mean, I
see
think
people
as
with their
Linda said,
canes
I
and their
mean,
walkers
it-
and-
You know,
Well, one woman
Parking
did park
is-
illegally, and, you know, I did need her to move, but I didn't make her do it, and I did wait until there was another handicap spot available, and then I moved the car for her. I mean, you know, we're doing the best we can, and if somebody told me, I know they can't stop the car in the driveway and come in and say, I can't park, and that's why the notice is about where they can park. You know, more than that, just trying to anticipate what could be a problem. Like tomorrow, I'm anticipating it, and I'm trying to assuage that problem, whereas today I didn't anticipate it, and I'm sorry I didn't, but I didn't. I don't know, I guess it was the 28 people in a 9 AM class, which really didn't seem a conflict. Mahjong comes at 10, it's supposed to be 10:15, so in other words, why would I think that would be a problem? I don't know. Social, it's Tuesday, so we do have a group that comes after Mass at St. Mary's, I mean, I do know that, so sometimes it's bigger and sometimes it's smaller. So that was more of a social, you know, not an actual activity that they were here. So it's just getting used, and we do need, and we will be reporting that to the planning department. I don't know whether they are planning to hear that information and say, oh, you guys need more parking, let's figure out how to do that. Or if it's more, you know, about, well, you know, you should have thought of that kind of thing. And, you know, you need to come up with some other, you know, solutions like what you mentioned, moving things around, so. We'll see.
How many spaces are actually in the lot, right?
70 in this spot.
70?
And as I mentioned last time, the handicapped is 4, only 4. That's what was required for the size of the building, but the other, 70 minus 4, the other 66 are required as well. So how it's been explained to me is we can't ask for 2 or 3 more handicap spots because that actually ends up taking away more of the regular
more
spots.
because it's a double
And now we don't
space.
have enough spots to support the size of the building. So we do have the bare minimum, so to speak, and, you know, like I said, I guess we knew that.
But it sounds like you were limited to begin with.
We were.
Yeah. So,
I mean, the choice was,
maybe
don't
some
build the
people have to
building.
come early if they
Yeah.
figure.
Right.
That's what-
Well, there is a-
And
there
if I
is
wasn't gonna get
a-
a parking space, I would come early for my.
There's a proposal for 16 more spots, which would be out in the corner where the vans are more or less, but beyond. The project manager is reserving money for it, but now he doesn't know if that's even enough money. Who knows, but he does have some money laid aside for it out of the budget. And honestly, we're under budget. We're still, I mean, the building's pretty much, I mean, he's still doing some things. I think
That's good.
I
didn't
think
know.
I could afford it not to spend any more money, but I mean, we're under budget, and I don't think that's ever happened.
That's
But
fabulous.
he's also reserved money, some money for that lot. I don't know how that will, you know, if that's what the planning board will say, okay, you need it, we will do it. I don't know the answer to that, and we should see them, you know, I imagine we'll see them in February. So, that's it for
I
now.
think-
If
Does
there's
anyone have
questions,
any
but
questions for Linda? And any and all of the things that she just covered?
I think I can add for those who are planning to come Thursday, that, you know, we'll have tables set up by 9:30 anyway, if not before. So ready for table settings, if people wanna come to a table class and silverware and glasses and blah, 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 put everything on the tables. I'm thinking 9:30, maybe a tad early, but I'd rather have them set. And then, lunch ostensibly is 12. But we could be pouring waters at 11:30, they're having a short program inside after the outside program. I do need cleanup, but I believe they've had at least 5 outside volunteers ask if they could also be helped. So I'm hoping someone's suitable for the dishwasher. That would be great if we had someone in the kitchen doing that, and so we do need cleanup sometime between, you know, 12:30 and 1 to get dishes off the table into the kitchen. So that's what I have for a time frame. You don't have to do it the whole time, but if you can come at a certain time, good to know what I'll have. Okay?
Under the information, Sherry, do you have people come when is it like once or twice a month, the state reps come?
Oh, I asked over.
Patrick O'Connor's, again, Blue Rizzo, does come. He comes for Patrick. He has resumed coming once a month on, pardon me, it's like the third Thursday, I think, at 9:30 for an hour. Then he goes to Cohasset. So he's here regularly. Patrick Kearney has not reestablished a set time. I'm not sure why. They're certainly available. If someone called for them, we would let them know. You know, it'd be nice. They say they're willing, but we just.
I mean, do you have times that nobody even shows up to see them?
If they came, yes, for the most part, I'm thinking back to like when it was Jim,
Can't.
thank you, God, I couldn't remember his name. You know, he would never just, if he didn't have any appointments, he might not come, do you know what I mean? So they wanna know if they have people who
Yeah.
call, so that's why it's best if it is at least in the newsletter, and then they know. So that's kinda why he hasn't, but he's willing. The nurse has started to be a bit more regular, so she's here 2 times a month on Wednesdays, but then we also have the reflexology woman once a month still, the chair massage with Freya, very good, once a month, and Reiki with Elizabeth once a month.
Now, the price on the reflexology, is that $30 for 30 minutes?
Yes.
Is that how it goes?
It is.
Okay.
Chair massage is $20 for 20 minutes. I mean, it's a little arbitrary, but, you know, we'd rather not maybe have people sign up for an hour. If she's only here from 9 to 1, let's say, or whatever. I mean, she's done a long day. People do like it a lot, and it's a reasonable price. But if anybody knows any foot care people, I mean, I'd really like to have some kind of foot care coming here. Anyway.
But besides reflexology?
You might-
Besides reflexology.
Like trimming nails and
More
stuff. I remember
maintenance.
that from my mother. We had to get her
It's-
nails trimmed.
It's a good
Yeah.
service that you
Yeah.
don't get anywhere else.
It is.
So it's not a pedicure, and it's not really a podiatrist thing where you have a problem and
Yeah.
somewhere just.
Yeah, that really would be
Prevention,
helpful.
maybe, it's prevention really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a problem.
So, we'd like that, I just don't have
I was gonna ask, is Joe Mosquito?
one.
Put any
Joan,
time?
poor Joan, we love Joan, but she is now redistricted. So she's no longer, she used to have just one district in Scituate. Now, whether that was
I didn't know.
immediate, I don't know, but
Did
she
not
did
know
just
that.
tell me that she is now losing that district. She had one little piece of North Scituate,
Yeah.
I think, along with Hingham and Hull.
Yeah.
And now she's,
So it's just Patrick, current? Wow, okay, did not know that.
I did get asked to a meeting, among the sort of South Shore COAs. We had Hingham, Cohasset, Hull, myself, Scituate, and, Joan, who engineered it with her aides, and then also Lou Rizzo came. Because people are upset, I mean, Joan's not here, I'm going to speak about it when she's not here as the liaison to South Shore Elder Services, but people are just feeling that there's not a response from them that's maybe expected on our end. They are our first and foremost resource for so many things that we get asked, and people are just maybe not getting the response from them, so they're gonna try to set up a meeting about that with them, and I mean, I don't know if I could say that necessarily. It was interesting to hear from others that they were really feeling that way, but maybe I just took it for granted that's the way they were, and sometimes we don't know, because if we do send someone that way, sometimes we don't know whether they heard from them or not. But anyway, that's just something that has come up that Joan is doing. She's trying to facilitate a.
And you're saying some people are, social elders are feeling social elder services is not providing
Maybe the
appropriate
services that are
communication.
expected from them, and I mean, it's hard to say what that is. Case management, it is, social work in general. It is as a resource for us when it's beyond what we would do, but we might have someone needed help in the house.
Right.
We would send them there.
Right.
We don't have those resources. I would like to get a list of resources that would be considered local or available, or, but usually we send them to social. So, and it could be a workforce thing, which was brought up. Which everybody is seeing, it could be a workforce thing. And also a demand thing, so, I mean, it is coming true, the caregiver tsunami, and, it's an impossible situation for many, that they just are looking for some relief from. And sometimes with the private agencies, they can't do that, or they don't have really the need that some of the agencies require, but they need someone. That said, I didn't mention, it's in my report though, my goals. I mean, I did submit my budget narrative, my goals, and my request, which of course are the two positions. One is Jess to be on the budget, so she's in the bottom line, but the funding comes out of the formula grant, which I've mentioned. But her salary, or the salary for that position, has risen since it was $15 an hour 7 years ago. So it's a big chunk out of my formula grant. She should be on the budget, the municipal budget. So that's one request. So it's really a change of funding. It's not, and I asked to increase her to 30 hours because she said she could do that. And then the other request is the kitchen assistant. But my goals are obviously to continue to, refine and establish programs and activities that people want and that are, suitable and useful. One of them or two of them being the potential for memory cafe or respite program or opportunity. So what that looks like, I don't know, but if I did have some formula grant money freed up, it's something we could start to pursue. We'd need someone to sort of facilitate a respite program, 1 day a week even, but maybe 2. So that's just a goal to know about, because that's a need. And the memory cafes, which have been ongoing with many senior centers, we just didn't find a way to integrate them. Anyway, but it's more for the maybe person who might be ill and the caregiver, and they can do something together, enjoy music, come for some sort of a talk that's appropriate, or trivia, or whatever it might be, just something different. That's what we'd be looking at doing.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments?
I do. So you said that you have no problems with volunteers, but not, you said that you're short volunteers because of vacations, or?
No, that was staff. I had
okay.
staff, I had staff unexpectedly out with illness and short 2-week vacation, short vacation. I just had no transportation coordinator. And then a volunteer who would have been that person, but then because of the other illness, didn't come in. And so really literally had no staff for a couple weeks in the month of October.
So do you have like a steady group of volunteers that come in the same time every?
At the front
same
desk,
days?
yes.
Yeah, and the kitchen?
I mean, at this point right now, I don't think Jess is necessarily looking for a front desk, other than maybe backup. Maybe that's the thing, we still
Yeah,
have people in the wings.
Yeah, I was thinking like doing an on-call list or something.
We do have fun. We have a great, I would not want that, to be the impression that we have great volunteers who are working, they're really working.
Yeah.
It's a lot for them, and happy to do it, but it's a bit of a job.
One-
Fielding, I
People
mean,
call, they don't
lines,
realize
there's
they're
lines
a
at the front.
volunteer. When people call, they don't realize they're talking to a volunteer.
Which
Sometimes
is,
they remind you, yeah.
is one person enough to handle the reception?
Good question.
No.
I often have two, and I do
Yeah.
like two. There are a couple that prefer to be alone, and they are capable. We could step in, and if
Yeah.
it was a problem, I think,
Overload
asking
or-
Jess maybe to talk to them, we
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
But we have two people, a few times at least. I mean, we need to offload a little bit from the front desk at Sardi, and we've done that with lunch, so they don't stop at the front desk for lunch. They should check in with their scan card, but then they go down to the dining room and, do their thing there. So that's helping. But there could be two, I mean, I like two, and
When people come in, do they realize they need a scan and how to get one?
they are told, yes.
By the
That's
front
what
desk
the front desk
volunteer?
does very well, yep. Are you new, would you like a scan card, they can fill the form, they enter them into the system, they give them their card, they show them how to use it. Yes, very good. Nope, we're very, very pleased with that, but anyway,
Good.
that was too bad.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna move quickly through liaison updates because none of them are here. I don't have anything from Karen Canfield from the Board of Select
Very
Board.
quiet then.
Right, Joan Powers said they did not, I believe she said they did not have a meeting in social other services last month, so she never did report out on. And Elaine basically said the same thing. Foss did not really have a meeting and where there's no momentum on
They did
certain,
not.
on activities right now with Foss, so Foss had no report out.
I would like to say for Foss though, a big thank you for, they donated or they bought a table for the reflexology person, a massage table, which will help with the Reiki person and it just, Foss is doing such a good job of seeing the needs for the little things and making them happen. Really great.
Good,
They are.
Yeah, pat on the back.
great. Was there any other?
And they are paying for the coffee now, which is in the newsletter, I did make mention of that, and I didn't take the table. And they did buy the Hershey's Kisses that people were missing, and they went like, gone in a week.
And who does the beautiful flowers in the bathrooms?
And that is done by two of the members of FOSS, Jean Young and Pauline Sutter.
That's really a treat, really.
Very
It
nice.
is.
You wouldn't think so, but when you, it
It
really,
is
you
very
walk
nice.
in and there's this beautiful, joyful
Very
little
nice.
bouquet in the bathroom. It's really nice. I wondered who. I heard Jean Young was doing it.
I'm pretty sure they're not in the men's room,
Oh, well, I don't go in there.
I'll let you know.
neither do I.
Yeah.
I mean, not anymore, used to, before people were here.
Nice little touches. It means a lot.
Any other building updates?
No, I mean, no, I mean, seriously, we are pretty much done. That was it.
Lighting
The
center.
the herb garden, which is there, and I do not know when they planted.
Who's in charge of that? I know the Boy Scout supplied it.
Yeah, Cole is his name, he's a high school boy, doing his Eagle Scout project, and he enlisted John Belber. So I don't know if the boys just,
Okay.
they came up when the storm was starting, and I saw them, I'm like, oh, wow, well, bad timing, but I guess I figured they were gonna be there and get it done. And then I needed the umbrellas taken in from the patio, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna go catch them, I need help doing that, because the winds had already started and the rain had already started. And they were gone, it's like they left their stuff, and then they were gone, so I thought, gosh, they must have decided if they couldn't do it. So I had to call the facilities, and somebody did come and do it for, Kevin did it. But anyway, long story short, the next day, I don't know if I looked at it, that was the storm day, and then the following day, it was done. Like, I don't know when they came and did it, in the dark of night, I don't know, but they planted some stuff.
94 mile an hour
The
winds.
stuff, you know, the
Wow.
containers were gone, and I don't know, so it is relatively done, but I don't know what's in there. And if we have to do anything, but
So, do you think Holly Hill Farm is sort of helping coordinate that?
perhaps, so maybe
That's
he's
great.
also maintaining it, because
Good.
Bill did tell me that he had a plan and was going to do the work for
Great.
it, but still,
Great.
just funny, it did happen.
Great,
So that's something new.
he's a good guy to get involved.
The signage for the driveway, so we're reviewing design, and it's sort of between a sign that is more town branding, which you may have seen, the C Scituate, S-E-A, C Scituate's blue and white, versus our own logo, and, you know, where, and if it's gonna be approved, or we need to get approval from the planning board, so hopefully soon, because we really, really need it.
I vote for the one that's like the town, because it's so uniform and it looks.
We're trying to be a bit uniform or universal, so that's true. And it is at the library, and it is at the school, and it is at,
I like that saying a lot,
C
CC,
Scituate, very,
really nice, so appropriate.
oh, and we are getting a larger dumpster.
Mhm.
Good. Do we have a gate on it yet?
Can we park in it?
Someone did park in it last time, did you know that? Oh, people have been parking, because there's room, because the dumpster's too small,
Right.
so there is room. Somebody did do that, I said, you can do that today. But anyway, the food pantry is also using the dumpster, so they are will be sharing the cost, and we need a bigger one. So we are doing that, that's it, that's it for the building.
Okay.
I just think I wanted to say that what you offer here, the breadth of,
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it?
it's beyond belief.
Yeah, I know.
Beyond belief.
So everybody
I
does
hope
look
you
at the
come all the
newsletter,
time.
I mean, we did have a little extra help for Jess and Jill, from Leslie Sinnott, and I think it really did, we
It's
needed, you know,
beautiful.
the production came out nice, and there is a lot going on.
I mean, I
Well,
know
it's,
it's
it's also the city gave us this incredible building,
Oh, yeah.
you know, which facilitated that. I mean, we're just so grateful, you know, that and it's attracted a lot more people to get
Oh,
involved,
yeah.
so
From
that's
other
really the
towns,
best thing,
different
yeah,
towns, Yeah.
it's really awesome.
It was very depressing going to the other building.
Yeah.
Just to say.
Tell me about it, I guess, at a point, it was like, wow, how much longer we can do this? Well, we moved in here March 4th, I think, because honest to God, that was about it. But yes, it's like we've always had it, it's amazing, feels like home.
Good.
Yeah, lucky.
Does anyone have any
Just one thing on the,
new business?
when you go up the driveway that.
I
Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Dare we say it?
Around-
The island?
Yes, I go over it all.
Can that be like painted gel or something? It's so easy to do that.
I mean, I have brought up all of your suggestions, some of them are not necessarily received.
Why is it there?
Why is it there? The abutters requested it, insisted on it, it was a, what do you say, a concession. They, I think originally, don't quote me on
The
this,
one
had asked for
left-hand
like
turn.
a semicircle driveway to be put into their property, because they felt that with our driveway here, it was going to be even more difficult for them to get out of their driveway or back out of their driveway. So this was the concession, is that the cars aren't coming their way and have to go right, which
But I
is,
mean, but the island, what's
well,
that?
that's,
To prevent people from crushing into each other going in and out.
when it's a one-way situation, to make sure they're guided through that.
Yeah, that we're high.
And it's not even working, I mean, it's.
That's a town fire department issue
Oh.
now. The fire department has.
Because they
has-
gotta be able, we
Can only be so high.
They have to be able
Yeah.
to drive
It's
over
very dangerous
emergency
not to be able to
vehicles.
turn left there, just saying. I brought that up last time, I won't go into it again.
It's dangerous
I can't-
not to be able to turn left?
Yeah, because the other option to turn left is to go down to the most dangerous intersection in town. Right there where there's 3 different roads converging. It's very hard to turn left there, and that's where people have to turn left. But what they're doing is they're going out and turning right and then running around in the
Central Park
driveway of the church, or, you know, turning around over there
Yeah,
near the ball fields, and then,
Central field.
you know, so I personally think it's horrible
It's added an
to
element.
ask people to do that are
is
elderly and driving.
And I mentioned that
Just
at the
saying.
last PBC meeting, and, you know, there was comments from behind, from the audience. It's unfortunate for our people, it's very inconvenient. People have to get accustomed to, taking the right and doing something safer, which is take a right onto Cudworth down to Elm and go that way, which is all very safe. Or go down First Parish, take a left, I agree. it's still a 5-way when you have to
Yep.
take a left
Oh,
Yep.
at Branch, I do know that, so maybe that's not the thing.
Mm.
I would be surprised, and I haven't been a fly on the wall at the traffic meetings, it must be coming up, it must be, but I haven't heard.
I just turned left.
Ah, well then you are one of the ones we should be
That's,
recording.
yeah,
You
yeah.
should report me because.
Because we've asked for the police to.
It's so unsafe not, to do it, those
You
other
can't do that. I
options,
mean,
so I just turned left.
Literally, an
I'm careful.
infraction.
I look really good.
I mean, the police are trying to watch that.
I have
so
stuck
watch
up
it.
for our people, where I've said they're not really doing it, I've seen some vendors do it, and, certainly at night or other times, but we can't allow, we have to ask you to stop that, it is forced upon us.
Yeah.
The police will start giving tickets, that's what they've been asked
Yeah,
to do,
it's
whether
a
they.
town
do it or
issue
not.
for enforcement
I
and
mean-
not necessarily us.
I did it once and
can't
somebody
be
caught me on
changing
camera, and it was like 6 months ago, so,
Huh.
I'm not doing that again.
Anybody else have anything? Old business, new business? Our next meeting is December 10th.
Oh,
December 9th, I think.
Ninth.
that's all right.
I just checked our schedule, it's
All
at
right.
10.
Good time?
Is the Thursday, we're Thursday again?
Yep.
Yeah, December 10th.
Did I do it with the calendar on?
Could be a title.
That's fiscal year 2021, I think that's
Oh,
Yeah,
might be a year old.
December 9th is
cool. It is December 9th.
Thursday.
What?
Yeah, the ninth.
That's
The
obsolete,
ninth.
you're right.
Okay, you're right, I'm wrong. It's the 9th. Mark that down.
Change it.
The
Stand-
time,
Stand corrected. 5:30. We'll try to get back to,
No.
beg your pardon. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
And Pat second, thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome. So I have Laurie, but you'll get back to me on your times.